Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always. Wait a second. Not joined as always by Johnny Paulus. This is someone new. Dustin Ignash. Welcome to the show, sir. Filling in for Johnny Paulus, who has come down with the vid. Welcome into the show, sir. How are you doing this week?
Thanks. Happy to be here, man. Just honored to be here. It's been busy at work, moving weekend on a college campus.
So, first time on a podcast, right? Yeah?
I did my brother-in-law's little side project that he did like twice a year, once. But yeah, a standard real deal podcast, first timer.
Okay, then you'll be fine. So, for folks that have listened to the show for a long time, particularly in the earlier episodes, you will recall that I often mentioned a gentleman that went by the screen name of Doot to Do. Well, this is him. He has joined us here on the show to pick up our fallen brethren, Johnny Paulus, as he gets through his bout with the plague here. So, yeah, I mean, in terms for me this week, obviously I didn't get COVID, so I'm here.
Winning,
but just the huge, I guess. It was a stressful week of work for me. I'm getting ready to take off for Belgium. I think I might have mentioned that a week or so ago.
But you got a big trip.
Yeah, we finally got like the plane tickets and all the hotel information. So like it's getting real now, and it's like, oh shit, I'm leaving the country. And
international business trip too. That's a big
an international business trip. And the whole week before that, I have to do a business trip through my territory in Virginia. So it's like freaking out, man. I got all sorts of wild shit to do for work. And being that I'm normally just a work from home, travel here and there guy, this is a bit of system shock. So got my passport, and I guess I just need to stay away from those with COVID as best I can for the next 2 weeks here. So
yeah, nothing crazy on my end other than just working one day or having one day off in 16 days. I work at, for those who don't know, I am an executive sous chef at Michigan State University, and my job is to make sure that these college kids get fed a lot of food, and not a lot of staff to do it. But this is what it is.
Yeah, this past week I continued my my ever quest of finding people's old video game collections and then reselling them for what they're actually worth online. And I found this one listing that caught my interest because it was an N64. Like I super nerd out whenever I see one of those. Oh, and yeah. I just sort of glanced at the pictures because it was that and a Dreamcast, and like the Dreamcast really kind of like blinded me with awe. And I looked at the N64, and it was like the blue with the white. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, it's the fantastic ice blue one, worth bukus of money, whatever. It was like great. So I went and picked it up, and I saw the Dreamcast and everything on the top of the box. And I was like, yeah, here's your money. And so he pulls off, and I'm looking in the box, and I go, wait a goddamn second. It was blue. However, it was blue paint that some kid had fucking smeared on it. I was so blinded by this Dreamcast that I didn't really stop to look closely enough at this thing. It's like I was looking at it with my glasses off or something. And so it was this hideous, poorly latex painted N64. It just looked like fuck. And it was bad. I was kind of panicking because I'm like, well, shit, the whole point of this is to flip and make money. So I'm mad the whole drive home. And it came with all these N64 controllers. Only one of them was real. The rest of them were these fake Chinese knockoffs that work like shit. So
not even Mad Cats?
I wish it was Mad Cats. Jesus Christ. These things are so much worse. So I got home, and this brilliant plan struck me. Dustin, have you noticed how, like, in the gamer market in particular, there's a ton of, like, this light pink hardware? Like, yes. Razer makes these headphones that are, like, light pink. the Blue Yeti, the popular streaming and podcasting mic comes in this light pink. I mean, this pink is everywhere. And I just thought to myself, I was like, well, wait a second. What if I paint this bitch that same color pink?
Right.
And so I did. And sure enough, I go on eBay.
And it looked good.
It looked great. So I go into eBay and I'm like, well, I've got the only pink N64. Let's ask twice what it's worth. And sure enough, within no shit, like 10 minutes of listing this thing,
instantly
sold. Full
my
ask.
God.
I was like, I'm gonna have to buy some more N64s and paint them pink. Jesus.
Now, what was the quality of paint that you used? Was it like specifically for this, or?
Yeah, no, I went to the Ace Hardware and I picked up some Rust-Oleum brand spray paint, and they have this color called Sweet Pea Pink, and
Sweet Pea
Pink, and like my only prior experience with spray paint is fucking Warhammer figures, but I got really good at doing the base coats on them, so you know they wouldn't get all smudgy and mutated looking. So I used the same technique I used to do on the little Warhammer miniatures just on the N64, and it turned out perfect. So
I saw the picture. It looked good, man. It did.
So there you have it. If you've got a
custom painted,
if you got a chunky old console, just go grab yourself some Sweet Pea Pink Rust-Oleum and an $8 can of spray paint. Spray paint. We're getting dangerous here. That was almost
spray paint pan.
You don't want to mess around with words that rhyme with paint. Yeah, it doubled the value of the thing. So there you have it.
That's awesome. Just a coat of paint. Polish it up.
Just a coat of paint, and yeah, I had to sandpaper with some fine grit to get that kid's shitty paint off there and pull out a hairball from the cartridge thing.
That's the worst.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is episode 82 of the Power Gamer Podcast.
82.
We have a very full episode for you guys this week. But as is customary, we are going to first talk about what we've been playing this week. And I'm going to be all messed up here because we have a new face in here. I'm used to what Johnny's been playing, and we've got some new things to talk about because of Dustin's presence here. So without further ado, Dustin, what have you been playing this week?
Well, like you just so kindly pointed out, I've thrown a little wrench in the operation of introducing some games that you guys don't traditionally talk about. I'm bringing in the subscription season pass games, the live service games.
I don't even know what this first one on your list is.
All right.
What is it?
So, The Unliving is a demo that comes out next month. It is a pixel art top-down game where you just start as a necromancer and you basically have spells and abilities. It's a roguelike. And as you kill enemies, you can just push a button and you resurrect all the corpses as your undead army. And as you progress along the countryside, slaughtering villages and dungeons and castles, you get different creeps, different, like I said, different abilities. And then when you ultimately die, you can spend the points and upgrade your character and troops and all that kind of stuff in a very standard roguelike formula. But it's addicting. Like
this kind of looks like a pixel art version of what was that game called? Overlord, was it?
Yes. It is very minion-y blockade, you know. I actually played Overlord and Overlord 2 a lot because after Pikmin came out, there wasn't really a game like that I enjoyed, and Xbox was like, we created this. But it's very chaotic on the screen, but it runs super smooth, and the mouse feature, I haven't played with controller yet, but the mouse and keyboard is very simplistic, so I do like that.
It's from one of my favorite publishing teams. I mean, at least when it comes to indie games, it's a Team 17 product.
I have heard of the name.
Team 17 also put out one of my all-time favorites, Blasphemous, which same kind of vein. It's a pixel art Souls-like that's just fucking awesome. Yeah, it looks like this game's coming out to PS4, Xbox One, and Windows and Macintosh.
Yeah.
For you Apple gamers out there, you hardcore bunch. And is, of course, made in the Unity engine, which, if you want to know more about Unity, we did an entire episode on like 4 or 5 episodes ago. So.
Yep.
Okay, that looks cool. I think I might have to get on that one.
Demo's
That's
free.
awesome.
It's not a huge file, and it gives you a good taste of what's to come. So looking forward to it. And then next, I returned to God of War. So back when I quit streaming back in February, I was pretty deep into the God of War franchise, including the PC version. And I had not returned to it. And then I moved my computer around and tried to play it the other day, and my power supply did not like the electrical hookup on the side of the house. It squealed and screamed until I quit that game. So good old eBay, got a refurb, got a 750 model, and runs smooth as silk. Now I get to do the fun task of dropping into an RPG that's super immersive and not remember the combos or button mashes or nothing. So
is this the 2018 version that you're playing?
It is. I've never played it before. This is my first playthrough. So
yeah, because I remember, and Jesus Christ, it doesn't feel like it was 7 months ago, but I guess it
7
was.
months. Yep.
You played through the original series, basically.
I did. Borrowed a friend's PlayStation 4 and went through the whole. Just streamed them. I didn't own the games, but I could just play them on PlayStation Now, and they ran smooth as silk. Shout out to Sony and that service is incredible. I mean, you guys have talked extensively on that, but
Johnny is a big fan, and I have been a little bit that I've used it, but
yeah,
the old service is dead. Hail to the new service.
That's right.
So 2018 God of War, and this is the PC version of it.
Correct, which is beautiful. I don't know if I can. I am still borrowing my friend's PS4. I'm excited for Ragnarok, but I don't think I could bring myself to play Ragnarok on a PlayStation 4.
No,
I just don't think I'm going to be doing it service.
The sun is set on the PS4.
Yeah,
God rest its soul. But other than indie games and man, really the last decent release that was a PS4 locked game is Moss 2, which
oh wow,
no one bought or wants to play because no one's going to set up their PS4 and their PSVR. So that's awesome. God of War 2018 on Steam. And how far into that game are you? And this is blind, right? You haven't played it at all before.
Blind playthrough, didn't look up any spoilers. But basically the kiddo went ape crap on the okay. Not the bug people, but the lightning dick. I forget his name. I don't think it was Balder, but they're very secretive of who actually is everybody.
Yeah, it was not the dude that was with Thor. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's in full teenager mode right now.
He's very angsty. And Kratos is not having it.
Boy.
Listen, boy. All right. And then on to the season pass games. Fall Guys, always a classic, right? I mean, it's a pickup game. It's free to play now on all systems. Cross-platform is flawless. Lobbies are very stable, and you can drop in and out with all your buds. What more would you want?
Yeah, a lot of my friends love this game and still play it and stream it quite regularly.
Yes. The going free to play was actually one of the smartest things I ever did because it really breathed a whole new life into the game. Lobbies fill up super fast, and it's not just like you feel like you're beating up on kids. There's people like me who are 35 just trying to get a little bean to the crown,
People are always pulling me when I play that game.
Dicks.
It's upsetting.
There's a special place in hell for grabbers, especially in final rounds. Ugh. And then that rolls right into the new Destiny season, Season of Plunder. Destiny and I have had a very long love-hate relationship. Recently, I fell back into it with Witch Queen after a year off, and have basically been just enjoying the content, not really putting a pace on it, just kind of get my challenges done, get my loot in, do some new content, get some guns in the season. One of the cool things that they did for the uninitiated in Destiny, they've completely rebuilt the subclass system, so it's very customizable and it synergizes really well with the weapons. The last 2 seasons have been a blast on that game.
I recall that with Destiny 2 in particular, I played the first Destiny game an absurd amount, like 3,000 hours or so.
Wow, that is a lot.
Absurd. But Destiny 2, I'm more like around that 600 hour mark with, and it's been quite a while since I played it. At least, I'd say a year and a half at least. But yeah, this new season is interesting because it seems like they have unactivisioned the subclass system. And for anyone wondering what the hell I mean by that, is Destiny 2 really, when it came out, it was under the Activision umbrella, and they really dumbed shit down. And that's kind of where it lost me, honestly, is how much they diluted the gameplay.
Very cookie cutter.
And Season of Plunder seems to be a full swing back in the other direction. And I've heard some good things about it, that it's a like pirate-themed thing going on, and that there's like flintlocks and blunderbusses and all sorts of fucking crazy shit going on in the game right now. So certainly does seem intriguing. Yeah,
it's kind of funny that it's in a really good spot now after all this time, and we're actually approaching the final last hurrah. Come February will be the final massive expansion.
It's got the worst name. Everything in video games these days is fall, right?
Yes.
You know, light fall, right?
King's
that's
Fall.
What it is?
The King's Fall raid just came out.
The Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, they re-released the King's Fall raid from Oryx.
Godfall. That's another game.
Yeah, there's another one. So, no, it's all good. Like I said, the new season coming out in February, or the expansion, it's going to be great. They're really building up for an epic conclusion of the Destiny franchise, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes from there. So,
it seems too big to die. So maybe there's something else that, or they could just 180 and say, "Hey, we're done with this," and want to do something else.
They could very easily. Very Bungie.
Indeed.
And then a couple other games I was playing. I rebooted up WoW Classic because the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch is now live. You can make a Death Knight. You can access the new professions, the new dual spec skill tree system. A la 2008, I believe. That's when it was.
Blood tanks are just the best.
Blood tanks. Gotta love them. Of course, I logged on a couple days after it came out, and I already saw level 70 running around. I'm like, oh my god, stop.
I can't do it. Yeah,
go touch grass.
That would be me.
Yeah,
it's just I can't control myself with that game.
But yeah, I believe that comes out on September 26th. I'm just gonna level up a character like I did in Burning Crusade, enjoy the content, reliving the past, so to speak. I have very fond memories of my time from Vanilla to Wrath, and then I'd stop playing it after that for 10 years. So it'll be nice.
Yeah, Cataclysm was amazing for me. I stuck around in Cataclysm, and oh man,
Pandaria seemed to be the one that really just...
missed the Pandaria. Yeah, I got through like the first patch, and then was like, it's time to hang it up. It's time.
And it comes swiftly, and you never know. When you got that MMO addiction, and you don't even know you got that addiction, it's just your lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. And when you have to just cut down a tie, it's just like, it just happens. And
all these amazing things happen too. Like I started a music career. I got a better job. I got married. And I own a house. My wife. I credit all of this to me stopping World of Warcraft. So.
Yes. And now I have all those things, and now I'm going to be like, wouldn't it be fun to kind of play this all over again? And they're like, you need to raid this many days. And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, as long as you can stay out of the scheduling of life, I think then you're safe.
That is one nice thing about the modern classic is it. Unfortunately, it has become so meta-sized, like if that's even a word. But the meta has become such a standard. Like everything is more efficient. Content doesn't take as long. Like the new content that comes out still is difficult, but it's nowhere near the level that it was back in the day. And there's LFG systems and gold systems. Like people really have got this all down to a science. The unfortunate thing is there's not much leeway when it comes to weavering from the meta. So
I was a LFR champion back in the day because
there's a lot of that.
Because blood tanks. Yeah.
Because blood tanks.
Just instant queue.
Exactly. And then, of course, just wrapping up the week, I'm sprinkling a little Rocket League. Got the bug back a couple months ago. Got back to my Diamond 2, Diamond 3 roots.
The game that I am so bad at.
The guys I play with are all champs and above, and it's very humbling playing with them. I definitely feel out of my element, but it made me get better. But I'm definitely hit that, like I made that massive jump, and now I'm hitting that extra wall, that new wall, and it's extra large. So,
well, very good. I have been playing some stuff that I've shockingly not beaten yet. I'm really mystified. Actually, I'm not mystified. I know why. It's because my week at work has been crazy, and I'm trying to clean out my basement of all these projects. So quickly, I put another few hours into Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I was pretty hard on it last week, and I'm still pretty hard on it because it's still really fucking annoying all the time. And nothing about this game is sinking its claws into me, but I'm going to trudge through it regardless. It serves no purpose.
As an avid listener of the show, been listening since episode 12 every single week.
Yes.
I have heard you time and time again.
I'm not a fan.
Slashing the tires of Gearbox and their franchise. And
I really liked Borderlands 2. I had a great time with that game.
2 was, I will admit, I will concede, 2 was its pinnacle. It has not recaptured the magic, so to speak. That's why I never played much of 3 at all. But I did like Wonderlands. I fell in love with the voice acting. Will Arnett, Andy Samberg, really, and then Christopher Sabat was my character's voice of Vegeta. What more could you want? Weirdly
enough, the character that I'm playing as sort of just ended up looking like you. And if I send you, I'll send you a picture of it after we do the show, and right. You'll see. But Tiny Tina's Wonderland, it's fine. It's fine. It's just go here, do this. Go here, do this. Is. And
I will concede that.
I hope it's not long. That's my hope, is that it's like 10, 12 hours, and then I'll be fine. Still playing The Quarry, playing that with the missus, and we need to finish this game already.
You've been on it for a minute.
Honey, we need to sit down and finish this game, please. It's really great, and then all I want to do is play it, but I'm not going to play it without her, so I need to finish this because it's a really short game, and I've been playing it for like a month. So, honey, you're listening. Come on. Let's finish this game
it's
already.
Time.
We got to get back to work. F1 Manager 22. I'm not going to go into details on this like I did last week.
I just want you to know. I don't want to interrupt you. I just want you to know. I listen to you guys typically when I mow my lawn or I'm doing stuff around the house. And I was mowing my lawn while listening to this and hearing you describe how if you're a nerd like me, you would love this game. If you don't know jack shit about Formula One racing, don't get it. That was the most polarizing recommendation I'd ever heard in my life.
And it still holds up. Absolutely. It's so deep. It's so complicated if you don't understand F1. Like
I would hate it.
You have no chance if you don't eat, live, and breathe that sport. You just have absolutely no chance. So I did have one crowning moment with my slog team of Aston Martin, which is my IRL favorite team. They're the second worst team on the grid. They suck. But I actually got a surprise victory in season 2. Thanks to the rain. So we had some silly weather and got a silly result. I got my team's first win. So
hell yeah.
Sebastian Vettel is victorious once again. In real life, he's retiring so he can go do woodwork and stuff. But in my game, he wins once again. He's a 4-time world champion. Did you know that? Four
I did
times.
not. I know the team. I am familiar with Aston Martin, but I don't know
He won
much
the
about
world
the people.
championship between 2010 and 2013 with Red Bull Racing. He was their first
Wow.
world champion. So
That was kind of when Red Bull Racing was at its pinnacle, if I can recall, correct?
Well, they're back. They won the world championship last year in controversial fashion, and Max Verstappen seems to be an absolute shoo-in to win it this year. He won today at his home Dutch Grand Prix. He has a 300-point margin to work with. He's going to win the world champion. He could take off the next 4 races, just not show up, and he'd still be in first place. So he's going to win again.
Nice.
Halo 5 Guardians. I finished.
Hooray.
Because me and Mandy can really slay some co-op games, and we have now completed every Halo game in the series.
Thunderous applause.
We're going to talk a little bit more about Halo here later in the show, but I did want to kind of swing back around on some feels that I had now that I've completed the whole series. And, having never really played Halo 4 or 5 before this year, I'd always heard the overall consensus was that the 343 games weren't very good. Like, that sort of seems to be the court of public opinion, that Halo 4 and Halo 5 were meh.
I will say that was my opinion of the franchise before going back and reliving that. I was very change is scary, and all we knew was Bungie before that. So
yeah, the 343 games are fucking awesome. Like, what?
Very clean.
What are people talking about? Like, I mean, Halo 2 is probably the best in the series. I'll say that. I mean, it was the perfect mix of graphics, story, combat. It's epic. But dude, 4 and 5 fucking are awesome. I think Halo 4 in particular is criminally underrated. That whole story arc with Chief and Cortana is great. And to see it finally play all the way through in Halo 5.
Nice.
Was really great. And honest to God, I think if you haven't played, you could not play Reach, ODST 1, 2, and 3, pick up Infinite, and be perfectly oblivious and whatever. I think that you need to play 4 and 5 before playing Halo Infinite.
Okay.
Because so much of what's happening in Halo Infinite is dependent upon understanding what happened in 4 and 5. And, I played Infinite first before I played 4 and 5. I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I remember Cortana being my cheery sidekick as I finished the fight.
Definitely not the case.
In Halo 3, and then Reach came out, and obviously she had nothing to do with that. You just had Dr. Halsey or whatever. But then you get to Halo Infinite, and they're basically spilling the beans that Cortana went fucking nuts. And you have no grounding for it. Like, there's no, like, here's a recap of what happened. No, you just have this new chick weapon who looks just like Cortana.
Who gets very upset when you compare her to Cortana, mind you.
And it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm beating up. It's like Planet of the Apes, basically, if you don't have the background of 4 and 5. And, like, I can see it now that 4 and 5 really just flow right into Infinite. And if you don't have that background of the story, it doesn't make any fucking sense without that foundation. So I think Halo 5, objectively speaking, is probably the technically most beautiful in the whole series, even with Infinite existing. I think technically Halo 5 is the best looking, the best running, the most cohesive. I like the linear nature of Halo 5 more than I like the open world nature of Halo Infinite. And I really like that there's these two casts of characters that you bounce between in Halo 5. I actually thought that worked really well. It was cool having Buck there. I would always play as Buck because ODST is awesome. And
My name is Buck.
He's the friendliest man on the planet, and he just murders everyone. Yeah, I thought it was really good. So, I mean, if I have to give it like a gut score, like I like giving gut scores where there's just no basis other than how I felt about it. I think Halo 5 is like an 8.8.
Wow.
Like
you heard it first.
It's
8.8.
It's really good. Like if Halo 2 is like a 9.4. Okay? Halo 5 is like an 8.8. It's really solid for being this new story arc and actually writing it out and upping the stakes and completing it. As a whole, I'm not a fan of the Forerunners. That was kind of one thing, like in Halo 4, where they introduced them, and I'm like, I don't know that this was the best enemy type to introduce.
Nah.
I mean, I get that you need to do something new, but it was kind of like in Mass Effect, the Protheans were really cool, right? And then in Mass Effect 3, it's like suddenly you have a Prothean with you, and it's like, well, I don't know about that in particular. And it was sort of like that same feeling. So, regardless, love the game. Gut check, 8.8. Totally should play it. It's on Game Pass. It runs great on the Series X, Series S. So, if you
I should go back
it,
and finish 4 and get into 5 again.
Yeah, if you haven't played them, my goodness. Having completed the Halo series, we were, of course, scrambling for something else to play in our co-op time. And I suggested this game that came out this past year called Nobody Saves the World. Nobody Saves the World is, I think it's made by the same people that made Castle Crashers back in the day.
Oh, it'll go on. Behemoth?
I think so. I'll check myself on that real quick.
I'm a big fan of Behemoth.
It certainly plays and looks a lot like if Castle Crashers was if it was like a Diablo-like.
I'm listening.
It's very good. Developed by Drinkbox Studios. I still feel like they're related somehow. Even one
similar art style.
Well, similar art style. And one of the first achievements I popped was called Castle Crasher. After I beat
okay.
the first castle.
Okay.
So I'm like, there's just too much there for it not to be related. I didn't look.
Probably that franchise. I mean, if you like look up the web of influence of the people involved in Castle Crashes, it goes all the way back to Alien Hominid and maybe even further than that. And Battle Block Theater, which nobody played except me apparently, is a fantastic party game made by them. Pit People as well. A lot of games that nobody talks about, but one guy will go off and start it, and they're not jerks about the IP, I guess, or if it's not similar enough, I don't know.
In the Drinkbox name, at least, they were the team that did Guacamelee.
Oh.
So this game plays fantastic. Basically, as you're playing it, you unlock new forms that you can take and play as and level up. So you first start as kind of this wimpy, weird-looking kid, and then you unlock an ability to become a rat, and you gnaw people to death. And then from there, you unlock a soldier and an archer type character. And then so from there, you unlock a horse that mule kicks everyone. It's really fucking hilarious and good.
That sounds hilarious.
But the combat on it's rock solid. I mean, absolutely great. It plays wonderfully with the controller. So we're I don't know, 2 hours into it, and it's really good. So I'm interested to see where this goes as we play it. With it, of course, being a game that was released this year, there could always be potential that it's in that end of the year conversation. And I'm kind of getting those vibes that it might be, just upon first impressions. So
it could be. I mean, it wasn't that strong of a year, if I'm being honest.
It wasn't, but it's a tough
end of the year.
It's a tough year because you have Horizon and Elden Ring, and a God of War game coming out. So
Right. They started it off, and then God of War is just going to take it home.
I don't. Elden Rings is the monster that's going to dominate everything, I think, when awards start rolling out. But granted that me and Johnny had very different takes on Elden Ring, it probably won't be the case here. Because normally to pull a win with us, we have to have a consensus on it.
True.
So that's why Metroid Dread was our game of the year this past year. It's because that's the one we both felt was the best. So, well, that wraps up what we've been playing this week. Now it's time to get into some bits of news and information. So, Microsoft has unveiled a Friends and Family Pass for their Game Pass service. So this Friends and Family Pass will allow you to share your Game Pass with up to 4 other friends or family members. No pricing is made available here in the United States yet. It's not here yet. It's being beta tested in Ireland and Colombia. It is strongly suggested that it's going to be about $24.99, so about a $10 increase over the cost of the Game Pass Ultimate. However, you don't have to math very hard to figure out that that's a tremendous savings, because you can just link up with your friends, or you can do it as it intends with friends and family. So this is interesting. This is I don't know how to feel about this, because this is very consumer friendly.
Very.
And
very.
Things aren't normally consumer friendly. And one of my biggest irks with the Xbox currently, and with PlayStation as well, is that there are multiple gamers in my house. Me and Amy both play games. She has a Series S and a PS4 upstairs. I have a PS5 and a Series X down here. She tends to like the subscription services, and I like to have them because Game Pass is a ridiculous deal. And with the PlayStation Plus thing, it's nice for some of the things they did. Stray got me to pull out my card and say, okay, I'll do it. So, well, what's really annoying is if I let her log in on my PlayStation thing upstairs, then I can't use it down here. We ran into the same problem when I got her the Series S. So we're actually paying for 2 Game Pass Ultimate subscriptions in my house right now.
Ooh.
So this is a no-brainer for us.
No-brainer.
I mean, right away. And I've got to say that I'm probably going to get Johnny on board with this too, because one of the things that was disclosed in here is that you and your friends can do split pay. So there's a spot where everybody, it's like a fucking check at a diner where everyone can throw their card down and
split the bill.
And they figured it out. So, Dustin, any thoughts on this? What's your take on this new Friends and Family Pass from Microsoft?
Well, I mean, so as an avid listener to the show, every week I listen in, and most weeks I align with you guys, but you guys have a different take, and I come from a different background in gaming. I didn't have much of the PlayStation models coming up. My first one was a PlayStation 2, and I haven't bought one ever since. It's not just for a lack of not wanting it. It was always for a lack of funds, and I always had to choose between Xbox or PlayStation. Since I was kind of had a foot in the door and like some PC games that I would play with my friends, I didn't really gravitate to the PlayStation. And I've missed out on some very good titles over the years because of it, and I'm trying to make up for lost time now. So a couple weeks ago, you guys were doing the whole evaluating which console was leading the way and which service and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, the consensus was PlayStation, and I agree with you guys on the Xbox doesn't have much coming for it in exclusives and right now. And
Starfield, Redfall. Is that another fucking fall game?
It's another fall game.
Jesus
right there.
Christ.
You called it. You didn't even know it.
God damn it.
And Sony for their credit, they're still like, hey, we got the subscription service, and you're going to also pay full dollar for our blockbusters. Which, at the end of the day, their business, it's smart. If you can get in a day and age where Xbox is just trying to cater and capture all the, I don't want to say casuals, but you know, like the families that have the kids or the adults that just want to play the subscription games. They don't really care about God of War Ragnarok or Horizon or Last of Us. And this just, I think, is another way for... I feel like Xbox is just trying to buy time because they bought all those companies, right? With Bethesda.
Currently doing the Activision buy-through as well. Yep.
I think within... Maybe not next year. Definitely not this year. Maybe not next year. But the year after that, if they really, really capitalize on the IPs that they actually purchased and implement that and tie that into a maybe hybrid system of like, we're not going to give you this game for free, but if you have Game Pass, it's like half off or something. I could definitely see them like going from the bottom of the barrel to right up there with Sony. But again, like you said, it all depends on, is it quality or quantity? And
yeah, Xbox's whole business strategy seems to be, they're like the cool step parent. You know what I mean?
Sure, kids, you can drink. That's fine.
Who they are.
Just give me your keys.
That is who they are. They're giving away their premium games for fucking free. And they're doing stuff like this where they're like, yeah, you know how like Netflix over there, like they have this real problem like with you sharing your password. We're just going to make a service built around it. It's totally cool, guys. We're just going to make a service around it. You know what?
Just don't tell your parents.
Here's a web portal that makes it really easy, and all you have to do is just everybody puts their card on the table, and then you get it for like way cheaper, man. And like what this does, so beyond the family thing, because I think we're more of the rare thing where we have multiple consoles in the house where it's like,
right,
we want to be using this at the same time. I think what this more solicits is groups of friends that play games together. Like, if you only need one other person, right? So,
right.
You know, if I have one person...
and you make your money.
If I have one person that I play games with on Xbox, we're idiots if we don't get, you know, Game Pass married, so to speak.
Game Pass. I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
We're
better coin that right now.
Yeah, we're idiots because it's instantly cheaper. So... And then if you go the full Monty here with 4, I mean, you're not paying shit for it. So like mission number 1 is link our accounts together, but then mission 2 is get 2 more. Let's get Johnny in here. Let's get fucking you in here if you've got. Who cares? We're going to save so much money on the server. I mean, and you think of it year over year, if everyone's that smart with the server, how are they making money?
I don't know. How are they able to spend 70 whatever billion on IPs, companies like Microsoft money?
This is not sustainable behavior.
It's not.
So,
and they're going to have to turn into Amazon at some point. It just be this horrible.
I don't get it,
that
man.
We just can't live without.
It's not sustainable, and this is what I was talking about. Which now you get to be part of the conversation here. This is what I was talking about because I am a bit of a Sony stan when it comes to the two companies, and back in my early 20s, I played in a heavy metal band. It was fucking awesome, and we would see bands all the time selling T-shirts for $10, which is absurdly cheap, right? Now
they were losing money on that.
But they're just not making any.
Oh yeah.
Now, some of the bands would have shirts for like $25, and you know they'd be like maybe a little bit nicer quality. You know, maybe it's the Hanes with the silk screen print, and it looks really nice.
Iron on.
You know, it's not just some bullshit with a band name scribbled on it. You're like, oh yeah, that shit looks cool. That's $25, but that's really nice. So, yeah, I think I'm going to get the $25 one. What I learned is that the perception of value is real, and you will value something you pay more for more than you will value something you pay less for, regardless of whether or not they're equivalent products. Perfect example is in cars. I used to sell BMWs, okay? And when you pay $70,000 for an X3, you're not getting a $70,000 car. You're buying a $70,000 badge.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's been...
It's a statement.
And they know that they have these people so firmly by the balls that they have the gonads themselves to put heated seats in a car that you have to pay a subscription to use. No bullshit. They're in your fucking car.
Wow.
So...
It's taking all that information.
Microsoft, I'm here for you. If you need a consultant, I am here for you. You will actually do better if you start treating your property like it's worth something. I just don't get this model of let's race to the bottom. Who are you racing to the bottom against?
I just hope that there is a grand plan in place, because they have a lot of great IPs, and I just hope that doesn't like reach this critical mass and all of a sudden Phil Spencer, whoever is in charge, is going to be like, scrap it all or completely redo the whole thing. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You know, normally when you're in business and you have competitors, you look to your competitors and what has made them successful, and you do that. Does Nintendo do anything like this? No. I mean, if you want to get a Nintendo game on sale, you're lucky to get $10 off. You're lucky to get $10 off.
Their sales on the Nintendo store always crack me up.
Yeah, it's like
$2 off.
Finally, the 2017 hit game Breath of the Wild you could buy finally for one day for $40. It's like
with one DLC.
Jesus Christ, guys. So who are they competing against? I just don't get this behavior. But then there's the catch-22 is I'd be stupid to not participate.
Correct. And I think that's where it comes. They see it as people just see it as it's such a good deal, and you have a toe in the video gaming. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to? Or why wouldn't you? You know.
But meanwhile, I actually have a hidden one up. I have you mystified with what I have written on my notes. But I'll give a sneak peek.
Forward.
I recently bought The Last of Us for the third time.
You did it.
Oh, yeah, you know I love The Last of Us.
You did it.
Absolutely. And I happily paid full price for it because it's amazing.
So what's that, $180 for Last
total?
of Us? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first two were well, okay. So you had Last of Us on PS3.
Right.
Last of Us Remastered on PS4. And now The Last of Us Part 1. And then
Part 1, yeah, that's right.
That's what I'm talking about. And then Last of Us Part 2. So I paid full dollar for every one of those. And I would happily do it again and again and again because it's
and that's something
quality.
Special.
There's nothing close to it. So Microsoft, we got to talk because your premium, cream of the crop, the best IP that you have to offer is Halo. And your new flagship game is Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, of course, was included on Game Pass. I didn't have to pay anything extra to get the new Halo game, which, I mean, what a tremendous value that is. But Halo Infinite was sadly missing some feng shui when it came out. And as I mentioned, me and Mandy have cleared the entire Halo series co-op. And we have talked about this before here on the show that, of course, Halo Infinite does not have co-op yet. Sorry, that soda's coming back to kick my ass here.
Almost a year after launch.
Well, get a load of this. So Halo has a new update coming out. And we're going to look to IGN here for the scoop. So in a new update, developer 343 announced details of its winter update coming on November 8th, which comes with some long-awaited modes. Forge Mode, I love Forge Mode, will allow Halo Infinite fans to essentially create their own content. So if you've ever used Forge Mode, it sounds like it's a throwback to that. And Halo 3 was amazing. 343's Industries is also launching 2 new multiplayer maps on November 8th, which will showcase what Forge can do as they were made in Forge Mode.
That's going to be sick.
So hopefully we get the Hammers Only arena back, because that was the shit. The winter update also sees the full version of online co-op finally roll out to all players, allowing you to team up with your buddies and tackle Halo Infinite's campaign together. My God. Ooh, it's about time. We have been waiting and waiting
and waiting
and waiting for online co-op.
Can't believe it's almost been a year.
To our studio audience, hang on, calm down. However, there's bad news.
Ooh.
Bad news for fans of couch co-op. The local split-screen co-op mode has now been canceled. So, 343 comments. In order to improve and accelerate ongoing live service development and to better address player feedback and quality of life updates, we have reallocated studio resources and are no longer working on local campaign and split-screen co-op. I know that it's 2022. I get that. I am simply wondering at this point, what's the point in owning 2 controllers?
Really?
Halo is the flagship of the Microsoft Xbox. And anything the Xbox does, Halo should be able to do. So, whereas I'm very excited to play this game online co-op, I think it's really fucking lame that the couch co-op is not going to be there, especially like for kids, siblings, things like that. This is really kind of ugly looking. So, Dustin, what is your take here on the news coming out of 343? It's a little bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it is 2022. Yeah. Online, great. It's been delayed and, finally coming out almost a year later. But, I am definitely one of those OG Xbox owners. I remember gathering up the buds and plugging in the 4 controller, the Dukes, in our hands with pizza greasy fingers and, staying up way too late, just playing Blood Gulch over and over and over and over again. So, I mean, at its core, that's what it's all about. That's where it started. So to kind of just throw that whole feature away and not even come up with a variation of it, maybe a restrictive bubble that you have to move it co-oply. I don't know. To just say, sorry, canceled, just seems a little hard to swallow when it comes to Halo,
The biggest problem I think that I've had with this whole Halo Infinite experience is that it is the hallmark mover of subscriptions for Game Pass. And it seems really messy when your flagship franchise has A, been incomplete for as long as it has been, but then B, just to have things canceled out of it this far after its initial release. I don't get it. And again, I'm sorry to harken back to my Sony stand here, but here's Sony's stand.
It's well deserved at this
popping
point.
Back up is like, could you ever see anything like this happening with a Sony first party studio?
No, they would have cut it a long time ago.
I mean, imagine Naughty Dog going, yeah, we're not going to have half of our game present when we launch it. We're just going to release it maybe a few months afterwards, oh wait, we're having trouble figuring that out. We're actually just going to add it a year later. Oh wait, we're still having trouble figuring this out. We just decided to cancel it. I can't think of, not only just with Sony's first party, but I actually can't think of any other instance where something so ludicrous has happened as what's happening here with Microsoft. And I guess kind of the bigger point to drill home here is that Microsoft has a long-running history of mismanaging its first-party studios. It goes all the way back to the first Xbox. The only bright spot that they had was Bungie churning out Halo games because Bungie never released bullshit.
And that relationship turned so sour after they left.
Well, it was sour when they were there, too, because they didn't want to make Halo 2.
Nope.
And it was a rush development. It turned out to be a fucking masterpiece. But they didn't have enough time, and that's the only reason why they had to make Halo 3 was to finish Halo 2.
And then they took their Destiny IP and went, here you go, Sony. Exclusives.
So it's kind of been a mess for Microsoft, and that's kind of always been my outlying concern with them, is that they just don't seem to be able to manage first-party studios very well. And, you know, to have the Game Pass and have the promise of the day one releases, it's fantastic. But that whole debate where, you know, months ago when Sony was talking and it was still Project Spartacus and everyone was like, oh, I can't believe Sony's not going to day one their first-party IP. I feel like the guy on fucking TikTok with the hand gesture just going, well,
Halo Infinite.
Here's why that's not a great idea. So yeah, it's just kind of a mess, and I'm happy to finally be getting co-op, but my brain just can't understand how the premier franchise of Microsoft. And look, I get it. It's not 2004 anymore. There's probably not a huge audience for split screen co-op. And I don't know the first thing about making a fucking video game. However,
same.
To my simpleton brain here, it doesn't seem like something that's very hard to do. They've been doing it since, I don't know, the first Xbox, since the N64, playing GoldenEye split screen with 4 players. You're telling me that 343 Industries, the team that is in charge of the world's biggest first-person shooter franchise, bar none, can't figure out how to do fucking split screen co-op a year after the games come out? I call bullshit.
With Microsoft's resources backing them the whole time?
I call bullshit. It's just complete ineptitude. So, I don't know.
Well, like, you remember the game was delayed quite a bit. It was delayed a whole year, if I'm not mistaken.
Because it looked like an original Xbox game the first time they showed it.
Right. So this game has just been, like, mismanaged from the start. And, like, I was somebody who was very excited for Halo Infinite when it came out. Played the campaign. Got level 100 in the first season Battle Pass. Had a blast doing it. And after I got level 100 on that first season of Battle Pass, I have not been back since. And none of the people that I saw playing it are back either. So
yeah, the multiplayer side of it is huge. You know, it's so big. But I'm one of those guys that's just into the story and stuff, and it's like the story was great. I had a fun time with it. The grapple hook was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
but I never intended to play the game by myself.
Right. You were like, Johnny, once this comes out, we're going to go gangbusters.
Oh, yeah, you remember. I learned on this show that it wasn't co-op at launch, and my mind was just blown.
Every time they delayed it, you guys got your jabs in. That's for sure.
It's a very easy horse to kick.
Yes, very. It wants to be kicked.
Speaking of
asking to be
kicked horses, we have one that is rising from the ashes, so to speak. Konami, one of my favorite houses in video games of all time, is really starting to show that they're on their way back to the world of video games, which, it's about time because they have some of the best IP of all time in their stead. So, some news came out from Video Games Chronicle ahead of the Tokyo Game Show. So, Konami published its full show lineup this past Wednesday for the Tokyo Game Show. With most of the games listed being titles already known. However, in its schedule of stage events, it lists a 45-minute show taking place on September 16th, which is titled Konami New Release Announced. One publishing source revealed that it is likely to be related to a smaller project rather than Konami's larger planned revivals for Castlevania, Silent Hill, and Metal Gear Solid. A Silent Hill 2 remake is understood to be in active development at Bloober Team, the horror group that made the Medium, which was a Xbox exclusive for a little bit. Sources suggested the game will be a timed exclusive for PlayStation consoles alongside PC. Another episodic series of Silent Hill short stories are understood to be in development at a studio under Annapurna Interactive, the acclaimed publisher behind games such as Sayonara Wild Hearts, The Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is awesome. And Telling Lies. Konami also has plans for remasters of classic Metal Gear Solid games. Sources also indicated that last year, the Chinese studio Virtuos was working on a new version of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which of course would be a good one to start with, because in the timeline of Metal Gear Solid, that's actually the earliest game in the timeline of the series. So I'm kind of getting the sense that maybe they're going to do 3, 1, 2, 4 if they remake 4. While it's possible Konami could tease all of these projects at Tokyo Game Show, we understand it's more likely that they will be shown later this year via a more global-focused event, such as PlayStation State of Play or Jeff Keighley's Game Awards this September. So, Dustin, let's gauge our excitement on Konami coming back here. I guess first up, let's talk about a Silent Hill 2 remake. Silent Hill, of course, was originally released on the PlayStation 2. It had a somewhat remastered version put out on the Xbox 360 and PS3 consoles, but it is super dated and one of the most important games of all time. So, where are we at with Silent Hill making a return finally to modern consoles?
I'm ecstatic for it. As somebody who, it was funny, I was not allowed a lot of M-rated games when I was younger, and when Silent Hill came out, I was definitely not. That was shit was not allowed in the house. And not owning a PlayStation since the PlayStation 2, I guess I kept seeing all these games coming out, and I'd watch streamers play it, and I'd watch friends play it and stuff, but I never actually got to experience it myself. So with it coming out alongside PC, very, very excited for this.
Yeah, and Bloober Team is sort of like a middle of the road kind of group, but the Medium looked very good.
The Medium ran and looked great.
We did review the Medium, which we said was amazing, but had the shittiest ending of all time, which I can confirm.
Didn't stick the landing.
Sure didn't, but hey, I guess if they're handed something that is a 10, maybe they'll...
Can't screw that up.
Maybe they do. Hopefully they don't.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that.
But so certainly a Silent Hill 2 remake would break the internet if that was to be announced.
Day one purchase, as Johnny would say.
Day one purchase, man.
Day one purchase.
I think more interesting is, of course, the realization that Konami are the owners of Metal Gear, not Kojima Studios. So it's really up to them what happens with Metal Gear. Of course, it came out, about a month ago, that they were re-upping the licensed content in the original games so that they could be put back on to online marketplaces. They, of course, got yanked because there was a lot of licensed content on those. People weren't really thinking about that back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but here we are now. So they've been taking care of their business with Metal Gear. So it seemed to only stand to make sense to then re-release them or do remasters of them. So I guess probably same boat for you then, Dustin. The Metal Gear series, which harkens back to the original PlayStation, and really had its heyday on the PS2 with Guns of the Patriots and Snake Eater. Finally going to be making its way, it seems, to modern consoles and platforms, as well as PC, as that's where most of the games have been available for quite some time. So is it kind of the same bag there for the Metal Gear series for you, or have you had some experience with those?
No, not so much. Not as much. The stealthy shooter game is one that I wish I was better at. Games like Hitman, at least, can be a little forgiving when it comes to that. But I was very, very frustrated with Metal Gear. Because I saw how much my friends loved it, and it looked like so much fun. But younger me just couldn't deal. And now that this beloved franchise is coming back, I'd love to give it another whack in a much different headspace as a gamer.
What's hilarious with the first Metal Gear game is it's sort of like a pseudo stealth game. The stealth mechanics in it don't actually work worth a fucking shit.
No, and that was what was so frustrating. Like, this doesn't make sense. Yeah,
your
stupid exclamation point pops up.
Your best bet was just to kill everyone in those games.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, I mean, it's a powerhouse franchise. It's, Snake is an icon. So re-releasing all these on the modern console, putting it in a bundle. I mean, you're seeing it now with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just coming out with the Cowabunga collection and Shredders. There's a lot of money to be made on re-releasing these games, and somebody like me would buy a bundle for $30 or whatever.
Yeah, indeed. And I have actually only played the first Metal Gear Solid game. Although I do own Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, 4,
Here it comes.
Ground Zeroes, and 5.
All sealed? Or...
No. They're all secondhand copies. But the intention is to play all of them. Of course, I just have this massive swath of Gearbox nonsense that I have to get through first. So I just need time. I need time to sit and play old games. I need to be less
I
busy.
could see you doing a Mass Effect-esque diving in of where you're just doing nothing but Metal Gear Solid games for a month.
Mass Effect is a special thing for me, sir.
That was quite the podcast journey.
100%ing it in 1 month, basically. The entire series.
As somebody who was playing it, who started the collection when you did, you here's where we start, and then give it 3 days, and you were like, I'm all the way over here, and I've made it to this
yes,
far.
I platinumed the whole series in one playthrough.
It was crazy. Yeah. So I could see you doing this with Metal Gear Solid for sure.
I would love to. So, that wraps up the news items that we wanted to go through this week, which of course brings us to our final segment, and that segment is of course called Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. It's time for One Up. So I guess as a courtesy, this is your first time here on the show. Dustin, I'm going to turn it over to you for your One Up, sir.
Thank you, sir. When you asked me to be on the podcast, I originally was like, oh man, what am I going to talk about? I wanted to talk about a couple things, but it wasn't the most positive thing. With being around all these people and kids, but then just a glisten of joy popped in front of my mind that I would love to talk about, and that is football is back.
Thank God,
baby. Thank God. And I don't know, it's because my Detroit Lions are on Hard Knocks. The Kool-Aid is pouring strong down the gullet of one of the most disappointing football franchises of all time. You being a Commanders fan, at least you guys have had some success in the past.
I've got something
Commander
interesting to tell you about that, but
also the fact that I work on a Big Ten top 15 team in the country school. I mean, it's just I drive past Spartan Stadium every day. You can hear the band playing, practicing all day long. It's something in the air. You got your fantasy teams drafted. And then, it's just not even just watching the sport. It's the camaraderie. Like, we have a nice basement, as you can see behind me if you're watching the video. I love having people over. I love cooking for people. We're going to be making chili, cornbread. It's one of the actual few videos I did when I was still doing my cooking videos. You can find them on YouTube channel. And the cornbread recipe is amazing. But it's just having people over and the camaraderie and watching the great sport of football. It's just an electrifying time of year.
DeAndre Swift will be a top 5 running back this season.
Yes, sir.
I don't.
And if he doesn't,
I don't think that's a stretch because second year, he's an absolute monster.
If any football fans are listening, I'm not sure the whole listeners base, but curb your expectations with this Lions team, please. Please don't think that they're going to make it to the playoffs, win the division. They're not there yet. This is year 2 of a multi-year rebuild. It's easy. I get it.
DeAndre Swift.
I'm ready to be. Draft DeAndre Swift, and also pick up Amon-Ra St. Brown. You can steal him in the first 8 rounds. Just do it. Stash him. He's going to be.
They prepare to deal with Jared Goff.
God, who's never looked better.
He's the worst.
But in classic Lions fan fashion, insert Michael Scott meme here. I'm ready to be hurt again.
Joe Flacco or Jared Goff.
Basically.
Yeah, that's a coin flip.
Well, at least Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl.
So speaking of Joe Flacco, I have disowned the Commanders. They are no longer my team. Dan Snyder is a piece of shit. And he should have been removed from the NFL. And I refuse to support him or his product. And the entire Washington Commanders organization can go to fucking hell. You suck. Let's go Ravens.
Here.
Let's go Ravens.
Go. There you go. Just hitch that horse onto another franchise.
They're the same distance away. And I've watched every moment of that team's history. I still remember where I was when they won the Super Bowl in 2000. We were over at my parents' the Grays family house watching them win that game against the Giants. The Super Bowl in 2012, I was over at a friend's house watching. I mean, that
was an amazing
all
Super
of those
Bowl.
Great games against Pittsburgh when the Roethlisberger-Flacco rivalry actually meant something. So, yeah, I've been there the whole time. It's just, I've had this childhood connection to the team that was the Redskins.
Justin Tucker. Sorry. I had to throw that one out there.
And, the Clinton Portis days of my my appreciation for the Skins, now Commanders, is just long gone. And Dan Snyder is a humongous piece of shit. And I'm done. So
that franchise is going nowhere. You're
I mean, what are you supposed to do? Hail to the commies. Wait, that doesn't work.
It should have just been called the Washington Forefather Skins.
It's
Foreskin?
so bad. So, let's go Ravens. And I like purple, so
go Ravens.
It's even better.
Even though Justin Tucker made me cry last year with his
just
game-winning,
a bullet,
record-breaking field goal. Oh my god, it's so devastating.
Yeah, and before him we had Matt Stover, who was previously the best. So we love kickers in Baltimore. It seems. I don't know. So my one up this week is not actually chili dogs, as it says on the sheet here.
I was so looking forward to it. I was like, should I do a food one up if he's doing?
I mean, I did
dogs?
have Hormel chili and diced up hot dogs for dinner with cheddar cheese and onion. It was great. But as I often so this is kind of pulling back the curtain a little bit. I do this to Johnny every week. I put some random shit in here, and then I actually talk about what I was going to talk about. And I skipped this in what I was playing this week because I wanted to talk about it here. The Last of Us Part 1. I played through the point where you Joel meets Ellie for the first time, and it's $70 to get this, and it's worth every penny. It's
Part 1.
It's worth every penny. It's a full rebuild.
It looks amazing.
It's a full rebuild, and it's the best any Last of Us product has ever looked, and it's inarguably the best Last of Us that there is, which is the first one. So if you've played it before, you haven't played it before. You need to play this version of it. It's that much better. I mean, it's running 60 frames minimum at all times. It's just nuts. This is now the new benchmark for what the next generation looks like. And it's no surprise that it's Naughty Dog that's behind it, because they're the best.
And that's another tip to the cap to Sony. I mean, maximizing and optimizing their hardware, showcasing it in the best way. I mean, Series X, I have a Series X. That's what I'm sitting right here next to me. There's not really a game that I can just pull up. I mean, there are, but it's not on this level. I mean,
nowhere close. I mean, there's nothing close to this anywhere else. To even justify releasing a game 3 times, take some serious fucking balls.
Big ones.
But I mean, this totally doesn't, and it needed this new version. I mean, people give it a lot of grief because the remaster came out on PS4, but I think people have a short memory in that The Last of Us came out right at the end of the PS3's life cycle, and it was kind of stupid that there wasn't a version of it for the PS4 that looked and took advantage of the PS4. So I say that was just the PS4 version of the PS3 game. It didn't look all that different. It ran a hell of a lot better.
That's a good point.
It's been a long fucking time, and the jump in hardware performance from the beginning of the PS4 era to now is just absolutely insane. And they didn't just... This isn't the Grand Theft Auto collection. It's not some phoned-in AI-generated bullshit. This is something that was originally outsourced, and Naughty Dog looked at and said, no, we're bringing this in-house, and the A-team is going to do it. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I'm going to have a really hard time playing Tiny Tina when I have...
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Hear me out. I have a really hard time playing fucking Tiny Tina when I have the best version of the greatest game of all time waiting for me to play it.
Fair.
So, Dustin, any closing thoughts as we get ready to depart for this week?
Your biggest opponent in that game, Wonderland's Paladin Mike, love the name by the way, he doesn't exist after that one.
I have learned
point.
that.
When you were going on that tirade to Johnny about how he's the worst character
He just
in the
won't never
world.
shut up, right?
It was so bad. And it was designed that way to just get on your nerves. And that's
so annoying.
You got to give it to the genius. I know that the jokes feel overplayed and the tropes.
So I'm to the hub world now. Okay, so I've got the town, and it's all pretty, and like the game's taking shape now, and I can see it. I don't want it to be very long.
It's not. I mean, 20 some hours maybe if you take your time with it and you clear every side quest like I did.
I'll survive.
You'll survive. No, just it was an honor and a privilege, sir, to go on this journey with you. I was very, very excited.
Well, I was happy to pull you from the shadows.
Thank you.
But my conversation today started with, hey, are you alive still?
Yeah. Are you alive? Pokes to see if he's still alive. Well, yes, I am. What can I do for you?
Yes.
Buddy?
Thanks for filling in for our sick Johnny Paulus, and I'll have to look for opportunities to have you on some more. I think this was good. So,
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
Until next time, I'm Mike Dawson,
And I'm Dustin Ignash.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.
He did it. Ooh, yeah.